Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a chatty, sit down, casual video with you guys. I'm going to be doing a video all about how to find a job after uni / after you graduate. I have had quite a lot of experience in this now. I have been out of uni for coming up to a year. I finished uni in last May. I think my last exam was around the 13th of May last year, and I actually moved down to London and moved in with Bradley, and then I started my graduate job after uni on the 5th of June. So I actually only had 3 weeks between my last exam, moving, getting everything together and starting a new job. So I thought I would just explain how I did that, why I did that, and also tips for you on how to get a graduate job, how I think I ended up getting mine, and yeah, just a few different experiences that I have learned that could help you. So the first thing for me, going right back to the start, I knew that I always wanted to work in fashion. So it will depend what industry you want to work in. If you want to work in something a little bit less competitive, then some of these things might not apply to you. But for an industry, which a lot of industries now are quite competitive, I feel like these tips are quite good. So just to cover, when I was at uni, I started on a fashion buying and merchandising course. I went to Manchester Met Uni, so I started on a fashion buying and merchandising course. I actually changed courses after the first year of being at uni. I changed onto business management. Reason being is because I felt that the fashion buying and merchandising course was way too design based for what I actually wanted to do, and I really just was not enjoying it. It was really impacting my uni experience, so I changed to a business management course because I felt like I picked something broad. It gave me lots of options if I did want to change my mind and not go into fashion and go into something else. That meant that I spent 5 years as a whole at uni because I also did a placement year. So in my business management first year summer, so technically my second summer at uni, I interned at Estee Lauder companies in PR. Obviously it's in the beauty industry, but fashion and beauty do cross over quite a lot. So I interned there for 3 months in PR. I've actually done a video all about how I gained that and my experience in that internship, so I'll leave that down below and just up here in the little iCard. So I interned there, which gave me a lot of good experience, and then in the October of the same year, once I've gone back to uni, I interned at Debenhams in their PR team for a week. That was on one of my reading weeks at uni, and then I ended up getting a placement year. So I would encourage anybody to get a placement year. I think it is so vital. If your course offers a placement year, there is a reason why they offer it. It's just so important. It gains you so much experience, and it's such a valuable thing when you are going to graduate jobs afterwards. I just cannot tell you how important it is. So I managed to gain a placement year at Boohoo. So I worked there in their press team in their London office, and it was the best year. I absolutely loved it. I moved down to London by myself, and I worked there. I've got like vlogs from that period, and a lot of you will probably remember me doing that, but I absolutely adored that year, and it gave me so much valuable experience. So that is the first thing that I wanted to cover off, is experience. If you are trying to apply for graduate jobs at the moment, which I guess a lot of you will be, I know the current situation will be really difficult for a lot of you, because obviously jobs are few and far between right now, but as and when you do apply, experience is really important. If it's something that you haven't got at the moment, you don't have any relevant experience in your current field, then I would definitely encourage you to try and get an internship or work experience after obviously the lockdown has lifted, because currently that's not possible. But as soon as everything goes back to normal, a lot of companies offer internships. For example, us at New Look, where I work, we offer PR internships. If you're interested, let me know. Drop me a comment down below. But we offer internships, for example. Sometimes companies won't publicise it, but if you find the right email address and email someone in HR or the relevant department, then people are normally looking for interns. The only thing I will say is I worked for expenses only, because a lot of companies will only offer expenses only internships and they won't be fully paid. That is the only downside of interning, but it gives you so much experience that I think is absolutely valuable. Obviously some industries won't require experience as much as others, but anything relevant that you can get will always like stand you in good stead for when you are applying for graduate jobs. You're up against so many other people. When I went for my job at New Look in the assessment centre stage, they ended up with 10, I think there was 10 of us, and every single person had relevant experience of a year or over that. which obviously that's a lot of experience. So everyone at least had either they had a placement year or they'd been working for a year out of uni before they applied for the job. So just bear that in mind. You will be up against people that do have experience, so it's a valuable thing to get. And if you are watching this video and you're not in your final year of uni, go and get experience in your summer, or even just in your year. Try and find a company that might give you kind of a day a week interning, or anything that you can get. I would definitely recommend doing it. So just going into some other tips that I have kind of collated over the period of applying for jobs, and watching other people apply for jobs as well. The first thing I want to say is grad schemes are not everything. If you're in your second year right now, or if you're going back for your placement year, this might be more relevant for you, because if you're in final year right now, the grad schemes have probably already gone. A lot of people at uni are really desperate to get on a grad scheme. So a grad scheme or graduate scheme or graduate program, so they're very similar to a placement year. They normally last between 1 to 2 years, some of them around 18 months. A lot of them will make you move around areas. So one's for kind of business students, for example. So you will start off in one area of the company, like buying, you will then move to operations, then you move around to marketing and HR. A lot of them do that, and you gain experience in loads of different areas, and a lot of grad schemes are with massive companies. So a lot of people are very obsessed about getting a graduate scheme, and it is definitely something for some people they have to achieve. If you know what you want to do, in my opinion, they're a bit pointless. I know everybody's got their own opinion, but for me, I knew I wanted to work in PR. There was absolutely no point in me doing a grad scheme and moving around all these areas when I knew I wanted to work in PR. And I knew if I went and got a job in PR, I could move up quicker rather than spending 18 months to 2 years going around all these different departments. For some people, however, who don't know what they want to do, it does work, but they are really competitive and it can be really stressful. The graduate schemes normally open a lot earlier than normal jobs. So they normally open from September time, straight when you go back into uni. So you can get straight applying for those, but really I try and say just don't try and feel the pressure of those too much. I think it depends who you go to uni with and who you're friends with as to whether people are obsessed with trying to get one. For me, I didn't even apply for one. I really wasn't bothered about them. But yeah, just they're not everything and they're not perfect for everyone, so don't let anybody tell you that. The next thing I'm going to say is make sure you are applying for jobs on all platforms. So don't just stick to Indeed and just look on there. I looked at a lot of jobs on LinkedIn, like job portal. I found it really easy to look for jobs on there. It was just really like user friendly. So I applied for a lot on there. If you are looking at fashion jobs, then websites like Fashion Worky are really good. They have loads of fashion jobs on there. So there'll be ones like that for your industry, and just make sure you have a look on there, because there'll be some jobs that aren't advertised on every single platform, some jobs that are only advertised on LinkedIn, so make sure you're looking at all different platforms. I would also suggest talking to recruitment firms that are in your kind of sector. So I spoke to a lot of marketing and PR recruitment firms before I even started applying for jobs. So I knew I needed a job by the end of May to move down to London so I could live with Bradley. It's a bit of a long story, but he already had a job and was already moved down here, and his house contract that he was living in finished at the end of May. So for us to live together, I needed to move down by then and have a job to be able to go to. I wouldn't have moved down without having a job to go to, but that is everybody's different decision. I just didn't want to be in that financial position of not knowing where my money was coming from. So due to knowing that, and I knew that from January, I basically contacted a lot of recruitment firms, let them know my position, they had my CV, so then when anything came up that was relevant for that time period, they got in contact with me. So I actually ended up getting my graduate job out of uni from a recruitment agency. So she was a recruitment consultant. She managed to get me my job. She put me in place with them. She didn't get me my job, I got my job, but she put me in contact with them and she did all the back and forth between us. So they are really valuable in some industries, especially if you are struggling or if you need to have a job by a certain time. I felt like they were quite good for me, saying I need a job by this time, anything that comes up that is relevant, just like contact me, because that worked really well for me. I'd also say connect with people on LinkedIn. Obviously some people might have done this already, but the best thing to do is also connect with the HR people that are at companies that you want to work at, just so like they see your name before you maybe apply, and also connecting with like the managers, so like a PR manager, for example, at like certain firms that you want to work at. And you know, if they don't accept your invitation, they don't accept your invitation. It's really not the end of the world. But just connecting with people, not everybody, try and like, you know, pick relevant people, but that can be quite a good way of doing it too. Another thing which is quite self-explanatory but it's a good thing to know is make sure you're editing your CV/cover letter for each employer. I know a lot of people edit their cover letter for each one, but also edit your CV. Make sure you have a look at the job description and see kind of what wording they're using for the different things. If you've got experience, you should have already been doing some of those things in the job description that are in your CV already. Like, you want to have some kind of crossover so you know, obviously you look like you know what you're doing. So try and use similar wording to what they've used in the job description. Obviously don't copy and paste it, but just try and make it kind of look as though you know what you're doing for that job role. For example, if you have on your CV that you know lots about social media, for example, but they have asked particularly for TikTok, for example, of knowing lots about TikTok and how that's used for businesses, you want to put TikTok on your CV, for example, if you have experience in that area, rather than just writing social media. That is what I mean. So I'm just going to say a little bit as to how I managed to get a job by a time that I needed to. So as I mentioned, I registered with a lot of recruitment consultants that were in PR and marketing. I went down and met some of them. I did quite a lot of phone interviews. I had written on my CV available from, and I had it from the start of June, and then I lifted it a little bit. I ended up having it available from like the 17th of May or something ridiculous, like literally 5 days after finishing uni. Wouldn't recommend that, but I was in a situation where I desperately wanted to move down to London and I just wanted to get started on my life, and because Bradley's house contract had finished, we just wanted that swift movement, which worked for us, so it's perfect. When I did have phone interviews with people, I just fit them around my uni schedule. As again, I went down to London a lot to do interviews in my final weeks of exams. It is completely up to you as to what you do. My friends didn't do that because they weren't desperate for a job. They waited like 2 to 3 months at home and then kind of were applying for bits, or they were applying for a few jobs at uni, but they weren't too bothered about starting straight away. So I had a couple of final round interviews and I actually got offered a job at a certain PR agency, and I actually turned it down. So I was, you know, I wanted a job by a certain time. However, I went for this role and I basically decided when I was there that it just wasn't right for me at all. I got a really bad vibe off the CEO of the company, and so I turned the offer down. It's okay to do that. I felt as though maybe some people were like, why have you done that? You've got a job. Like, I'm trying to apply for loads of jobs and you've just turned one down. But if it's not right for you and you don't have to be 100% sure, because if you're in this position where you need a job, you need a job. But I just knew that that was not right, so I declined it and I still got another job. So I got a job at another PR agency. I actually ended up only staying there for 2 months. And then I moved to New Look. The reason why I'm telling you this is I wanted to work for a fashion or beauty brand. I did my placement year at Boohoo. I interned at Estee Lauder and Debenhams. I loved the working for a brand, whereas the working for a PR agency didn't suit me as well at this point in my career. I felt as though I wanted to work for a brand. However, when I was moving down to London and I needed a job by the end of May, there was no jobs really that suited me at my level in brands that kind of suited me or that were in the right location, etc. So I ended up taking a job at a PR agency, which I was very excited about at the time. Really, like, I 100% wanted this job. I didn't not want it at the time, I wanted it at the time. However, once I'd started, I realised it wasn't right for me, so I was just having a little look at jobs that were available. I wasn't applying like crazily because I wanted to find something perfect, and I ended up getting the job as press assistant at New Look. So I just want to say, it's not the end of the world if you start something after uni and you don't like it. I was there for 2 months. I made some friends. I got some really good experience out of being there. Some really good like life experience as well, and life lessons, and having to quit a job. I've never had to do that before. All that kind of stuff, like, you know, it's scary. And I got that experience from being there, so it was definitely not wasted time at all. And I'm now in a job that I absolutely love, so it's all worked out perfectly. The last thing I will just say before I end this video is, if you're not getting anything back from jobs, so if you're applying for loads and you're not hearing anything back, sit down, have a little think about why it could be. You know, at this current period in time, it's really hard because there probably isn't a reason that you're not good enough for the role. It's probably that they're not currently recruiting. But, you know, not in this point of time, in a different point of time, have a think about why you're not hearing back. So the camera died and it's actually rained in between me charging the camera, so I'm sorry if the lighting has changed ever so slightly, or the angle or whatever. But I'm coming towards the end of the video anyway, but I just wanted to say a couple of things about if you're not getting feedback from a job, etc., what you should do. I think that was where I was at. So the first thing I'd say is look at your experience. Have you got any experience that maybe isn't worded to make it sound as relevant as it actually was? Is there any skills that you can kind of talk about a little bit more in your CV? Look at whether the roles that you're applying for are actually too high for your level. I think this is one thing coming out of uni. I think a lot of people expect to not have to go into entry-level jobs. But if you've got no experience, then you're not going to be able to go for anything higher. You won't be able to get anything. A lot of jobs do say like minimum 6 months experience, minimum 1 year, or some people will say experience is wanted but isn't essential. So just make sure you're really reading that section and applying for ones that are relevant to you, because if you need experience and you haven't got any, then that will be the main reason why you're not hearing back. And the last one is, are you being too picky? So this is something that I found when I was first applying for jobs, because obviously, as I've mentioned, I needed it by the end of May, start of June, etc. When I was first applying for jobs, I really wanted a job at a fashion or beauty brand, as I mentioned. I had a really good interview with Charlotte Tilbury and was basically told that I would have got the job if I could start immediately. This was probably like towards the end of March. So it was 2 months before I could start. So obviously it was a long time, and they wouldn't have been able to wait that long. So there was things like that that made me feel a bit like, oh, for God's sake, if only they could have waited. I know they couldn't, because they're not gonna wait just for me. But it's things like that that are really difficult to take in. So, and it made me want to get a job in a fashion and beauty brand, because that's what I wanted. And I thought, oh, but I can do it, because, you know, I've been given that kind of feedback. But there wasn't any around that were relevant for me at my level at the time where I needed a job. So I applied for PR agency jobs, and I just opened up kind of my search to PR agency jobs, and I ended up with a job, and it gave me a lot of experience, as I've said. So try and just open yourself up a little bit. If you you know, if at the end of the day you finished uni and you don't need a job until September, then you can be picky, or more picky than somebody that, you know, needs one straight away. But all I'd say is just try not to be too picky. Some people are like, I only want to work for this brand or whatever. Some small brands are way better than working for big ones. I've only worked for big brands, but like my boyfriend and some of my friends have worked for smaller brands now, not brands, but smaller companies now, and have a better experience than when they work for bigger companies. So you've just got to take that into consideration and really think like the culture and stuff is really important, and will I get what I want out of a small company or a large company, etc. So yeah, just try and take all that into consideration and try not to be too picky. But at the end of all of this, I just want to say, try not to stress. I know it is really hard, especially now. I do not envy anybody that is trying to get a graduate job now in this current lockdown that we are in. So I would really try and say, try not to stress at this current point in time. Things will open back up. Things, you know, you will be able to apply for jobs. They will still be available for you, but maybe just slightly delayed than they are in other years. I do not know a lot about the economy. I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to tell you what's going on right now, but I hope this video has helped in some way, shape or form. If you have any questions, or you want me to do a follow-up video, I can drag Bradley into it if anybody wants to ask us a Q&A on kind of graduate jobs and getting that kind of thing. Bradley actually does work in financial recruitment, so that'd be interesting to anybody. But yeah, let me know. I really hope it has been helpful. Please give it a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Leave me a comment down below if you do have any questions. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed before, then please do. The button is just down below. I would really appreciate it, and I will speak to you all next time. Bye.